Controversial opinion alert. Controversial opinion alert. The gaming industry is in a really bad state right now. When a game is released, that's really just early access. Early access really just means beta. And if you actually want to have the features that were in a trailer, you're going to need to wait 1 year and then buy a bunch of DLC. And the game I'm about to play has some pretty good reviews on Steam, so I thought I'd give it a shot. Enter Factorio. First, the premise is fantastic. You are crash landed on an alien planet. Now, most people's first response would be to 1. Die, probably most of us. 2. Send out a distress signal and wait for help to arrive. Option number 3 is the option that our protagonist takes. They decide to simply build another spaceship and then take that home. Now, I've never beaten Factorio before. My experience with it is limited to I have a bunch of friends who are absolutely obsessed with it, and every now and then they run a multiplayer server where I get dragged in. I help by setting up electricity or running belts from A to B. So, since I'm on a mission to play good games, I thought I'd give it a shot. The game just starts where the premise ends. You are crash landed, you have control now. Factorio, in the strictest sense of the word, is a strategy game, but it's much more a game of automation. Now, rather than explain what that means, I can just tell you a little bit about the core game loop as I have experienced. So think, to make a rocket, you need metal. To get metal, you need ore. To get ore, you can pick it up off the ground. Now, you have the ore. How do you turn ore into plate? Well, you make it really hot. How do you make it really hot? You use coal. Let's just say the engineer is not super concerned about global warming. To be fair, I might not be if I was in their situation. So you get ore, coal, put it in a oven. You now have a plate. You can use these plates to make a burner drill. This drill will automatically mine ore for you, so you don't have to do it by hand with a pickaxe. Now, how do you run this thing? Well, of course you need coal to make it run because it needs power somehow. Now, here's one of the first things about Factorio. You could just run around hand mining everything yourself, but you don't want to do that. For 1, it would take forever. 2, that's not as fun. So I present to you my creation. Fine. This is my first piece of automation. This guy is mining coal. He puts it in the box, put it in the bag. This takes it out, puts it on the belt. Belt gives it to this one, and then puts it back in. That way he can feed himself. The moment that this contraption actually worked felt really, really good to me. I had solved a problem that the game didn't even present, but that exists because of what the game is. Because I'm trying to get home on a rocket, I need to get coal stockpiled. It doesn't say this is how you build your coal stockpile machine. I'm sure you guys have other ways of doing it, and I'm sure the first time you did this, you had a very different way of doing it. But the fact that you can do this and it works and you can do it your own way and that also works is really, really, really cool, I think. If you want the factory to grow more, you should like and subscribe. And if you have access to the hype feature, it would be so hype of you to hype this video. Now, comparing Factorio to a game like EU4 or EU5 or an other grand strategy game, the thing I like about Factorio so far is that the complexity starts small and any complexity that evolves over time is only there because you put it there. In EU4, because of the nature of the game, you're in a world playing as a nation where you exist in relation to other nations. And you can play as a small nation or a powerful nation, but you still only are those things in relation to everyone else. Where in the grand strategy games, another nation's gain is necessarily your loss. It's a zero-sum world. You have to buy into all of the complexity from day one. You need to balance your budget. You need to make a plan for the future. You need to figure out which industry you're going to diversify in. What are your ideas going to be? What advances are you going to take? What's your plan of expansion? Do you need one? Who are you going to ally with? Who are you not going to ally with? It might just be me at this moment in time, but I'm not having a good time with that gameplay loop as it exists. Versus Factorio, where you build up the complexity as you go, and the complexity exists there because you put it there. And if you're not having a good time with Factorio, that's okay. The game might just not be for you. You might have a great time with that other experience. It's just that finding this different mode of operation has been a breath of fresh air for me. The fact that the game never told me what to do, I think might be frustrating for some people, but it was very liberating for me personally. The thought of booting up Steam and playing right now excites me. I want to do that, but I know I need to get my thoughts on paper and then to video video before they float away. Also, streaming's a lot harder than I thought it would be. That's neither here nor there, but the really nice thing about Factorio is that it doesn't tell you what you should do, it just lets you do whatever you can do with what you have. I had a lot of fun actually running around, moving things from the burner drills to the furnace to a box, cutting down trees because they were in my way, and deciding how I was gonna build my factory. Now there is math in the game. For example, one boiler really nicely fits into 2 steam engines because the way the math works, the developers could have very easily made the math not nice. And the thing I like so far is I haven't had to do any math because you can kind of just eyeball things, let boxes fill up, and I don't doubt that eventually you'll need to think about production queues and how many items per second are coming onto a belt and vice versa. You don't have to worry about that. While that might be nice for someone who enjoys that, you don't necessarily need to engage with that to still play the game. Now this video is meant to be a repository for a lot of my first thoughts after playing it, and I really do think that Factorio has an aura of complicatedness that pushed me away a little bit, but I'm really glad I pushed through because it's actually a surprisingly simple game. It's simple in concept, very complicated in execution, and fun all the way through. And I'm sure a lot of you could probably relate to this next bit. On the first day I started playing, I had to stop to go eat dinner. And then while I was eating dinner and watching a show, I couldn't help but start thinking about, okay, what am I gonna do next? I should set up electricity because then electricity will let me actually power my science buildings, and those science buildings will let me get automation. And then it's like you start thinking about those sorts of things, and then how am I going to feed the iron for, where am I going to get all this iron from? I need to set up a bunch of rows of furnaces, but then how am I going to make sure they're actually fed all of the iron and coal that they need? It's just, and then I had to take a minute, sit, and realize I should focus on eating dinner and engaging with everyone around me. The really nice thing about Factorio, I've discovered, is that it lets you make your decisions and do things in the order you want. There hasn't been a pop-up that says, oh, you can't do that because you haven't done XYZ. It just doesn't, like, you don't have a building in your inventory until you unlock it. And if you can do everything with just the tools you have available, there's nothing that says you can't do that. If you're watching this video on the first day I upload it, I'm probably live streaming Factorio. You should pop in, say hi, or don't. I'm not a cop. And go have an excellent day. YouTube thinks you should watch that video, go watch that video.